Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us, a show dedicated to bringing real help to real couples. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and together we are high-performance marriage coaches.
We are cutting through the bullcrap and creating a movement of happy, healthy, badass couples all over the world.
Let's go! What's up, guys? We're going to take a quick break to talk about coaching. Go to anatomyofus.com/coaching. Are you sick of the same old bullshit? You're doing the same thing over and over and over.
You're not having sex with your partner. You're not feeling fulfilled in your job. You're not feeling connected to your kids. We've been there and we know how to fix it.
That's right. We know how you feel and we did something about it. Go to anatomyofus.com/coaching. You're going to get on a call with us to see how coaching will change your life, because I promise you it will change. We meet weekly. You get a detailed action plan after each session. And when you dive in, when you decide you're going to take the island, I'm burning the boats, stuff happens.
So head over to anatomyofus.com/coaching to apply today. It is going to kick your ass and you're going to love every second of it.
Go to anatomyofus.com/coaching. Can't wait to hop on a call with you. Let's do this.
This episode contains explicit language that is not very good for tiny ears. So if you're with your kids, put your headphones on. Take it away, Mom and Dad. It's time for the show. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Today we are talking about a question. I don't know why I'm looking at that.
Drum roll.
Oh, I know why I'm looking at my Tabitha Brown notebook. I just got it.
Oh, I see that. I see what you did there.
Hashtag I am Tabitha Brown. Okay, hold on. Here we go. I will get the question up. Here it is. It is, hold on, I wasn't ready. My husband says that we are on a team, but at the end of the day, he wants full control. Here we go. My husband and I have been married for 5 years now. This is the second marriage for both of us. In previous relationships, we both felt that we did not have a true partnership, meaning that we made decisions with our former partners and co-created the things that we wanted as a couple. So when we decided to get together, we agreed that we wanted our marriage to be a partnership where we made decisions together, honored needs, desires, and wishes of the other, etc. Fast forward 5 years, and this is not being honored at all. We do not see eye to eye on huge issues such as finances, managing former relationships and previous marriages, how we raise our kids, etc. I also have to mention that my husband is a decade older than me, and I'm wondering if it's a generational thing. Either way, I want to figure out how to change this. How can we truly create a relationship that is a partnership and not a dictatorship? Thank you for everything you do.
All right. Thank you for the question very much. What is the shared vision for the marriage?
Don't know. I'm not them. Don't know it.
Right?
You saying that when they need to create a shared vision for their marriage?
Yeah, what is the shared vision for the marriage? Especially if it's I don't know if there's kids involved with previous relationships, but man, that would be difficult if I was trying to manage an ex who I had kids with, right? And you trying to manage baby daddy and all this stuff. It's like, oh, well, okay, I have to, because you have an obligation to your kids, and so I don't want to assume that they have kids, but anyway, that would be really hard.
I also know this person.
Oh,
so
okay,
this
they
episode
do.
And the last episode are people I know.
Okay, so they do. So that is like you're managing several different relationships,
Yes.
and sometimes it's like all you can do just to manage those relationships. And if I was in that position, I might forget to tell you, like, oh yeah, I have to, give my kid $500 for a thing for college or whatnot,
Right.
Just like in the moment, because I'm like, listen, I don't want anything to do with baby mama. I want a relationship with my kid. So I just kind of
But what happened if you already said, hey, this is not something we're doing? Like, I'm just going to create a fake scenario. Let's say that you're like, oh, we promised our kid that we'd buy him a car when he graduated or when he became old enough to drive. But you're like, okay, so in the past marriage, you're like, yeah, that's what we established when our kids were young and we were married to our former spouse.
Right.
But now we're in this relationship and this is not the same as it was then. And you have agreed in the new relationship, these are the boundaries. This is what we're doing. We promised our kid that we would, pay for half of his car. But now here you are buying him a whole new Ferrari when you said that what we were doing was giving him, let's say $5,000 for a half of a payment for a really nice truck or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And so, because again, I know this person and they're like, we've established these things. We've created these boundaries. We've said that that's what we're doing. And at the end of the day, it's almost like no matter what they create like in theory, like no matter what they are like, yeah, this is the plan. This is what we want. We want to live like this. We want to be like this. This feels good to both of us. And then at the end of the day, he does his own thing.
Right.
And just like wants her to basically be like, don't have feelings about this. It's a dictatorship was the word I used at the very end. Again, I formatted that entire question.
So maybe I can see myself in this. Like I used to be, and still at times can be, like super lone wolf. Like, hey, I'm doing good stuff, net positive on the whole, but how I get there, don't mess with me on how I get there, right? If it's like leaving you in the dark on things, or saying I was going to do this, but like doing a version of it, but not all the way. But I'm like, hey, it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to go out and make, I don't know why money came to my mind. Hey, I'm going to go out and make $100,000. And, okay, well, you go do that, but don't spend any money trying to do it. You know? And
like,
I'd be like,
if I had conditions on how you were to,
right. Like we were on the same page, like, okay, let's make 100K, right? Boom. In 1 month, or I don't know. And I was like, all right, I'm good at it. I'm going to go out there, kill the thing, bring it back to the cave, right? And I ended up spending $12,000
to make 100,000.
to make 100,000, right? There's an element of that where it's like, okay, I made this, right? Like I understand I could have done it differently, but in the time frame, there were a lot of people. I had to make a lot of tweaks and adjustments here. So just lay off on the 12K. We have 100. You know, we made 88. We netted 88. You know what I'm saying? So I can see it kind of going that way. But then when it gets sideways, it's like, okay, I'm going to make 15,000 and I spent 12,000 over 6 months trying to get 15,000. You're like, oh, wait a minute. There was a little bit of money, but it's not that 12K that turned into 15. No, we spent 12K. We only made 3.
Right.
It's like we could have done a lot of other stuff with that money that would have made more sense and whatnot. So I understand that piece too. And if it comes to like children, baby daddy, baby mama kind of thing, I don't know that stress, so I'm not going to pretend that I know it. But communication is key. And I just saw a thing on ADHD too. I'm like, oh, man, okay, I have that, right? And I can imagine that might be a play in things. I'm like, listen, I'm trying my best here to keep the peace with other people or this or that. But at the end of the day, it's like, what am I creating? Oh, I'm creating that I'm not really a man of my word. And I hate that. I've been in that before. Like, I probably over the weekend when I said I was going to move the canoe and then got sidetracked with some other dog crap on the garage or something. I'm like, oh, I forgot about it. And it's still there, right? But that hurts your feelings to a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like, oh, okay. So I don't like not doing something that I said I was going to do. So I have to be really mindful of managing that. And especially when it comes to marriage and stuff like that. I'm not even saying that I'm the best at it, but it's something that I'm working on constantly. So...
and to be clear, it doesn't hurt my feelings when Seth doesn't move the canoe. It was something we referenced in a conversation.
Right.
It wasn't like, you didn't move the canoe. Oh my God.
Now the grass is dead.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said in this too about, I mean, again, because I know these people, I know their story. There's tons of info I'm not sharing, respectfully so. But this pattern of, and I've seen this, okay, this makes me think of a thing I saw on Instagram. I don't even know who it was, but this guy was like, it was a lady and she's like, men, tell us things that you don't normally tell women. Like, tell us something, blah. And he's like, oh, okay, you really want to know something? And he proceeded to say, like, we can see, this will make sense in a minute. He's like, we can see your woundedness like a million miles away and we judge whether or not we want to be near you based on that. And he said also, like, we are always thinking like, is this worth a long-term commitment? And even if we don't think it is, we'll still like be with you and date you and whatever. And he's like, just waiting for a next thing to come around.
Oh, interesting.
And then I can't remember what the last one that he said was, but basically it made me think of this situation that we're talking about right now, where it's like, well, I'll just say that I want a partnership to shut you up, make you be compliant. Now, I am not implying that this person is this way, by the way.
Right.
But I could see an element of that because even with you, sometimes I'm like, it actually makes me really nervous.
I always say stuff I don't mean.
is that you're heavy blinking. When your blink is more intentional than a normal blink, I know you're being silly. And then you do this mouth twitch thing that if you're not watching us on YouTube, by the way, we have a YouTube channel.
By the way,
you can watch what Seth just did. He got more intense with his blinking and his lips twitch.
So that means I'm not serious or am serious?
That means you just said a joke.
Oh, okay.
And I'm supposed to respond to the joke.
I see.
But anyway, how much of it might be that? How much of it is like, God, this woman just won't stop harping me. So yeah, I want a partnership too. And of course I'll run all the ideas past you. And then when push comes to shove, I'll do whatever the hell I want.
Maybe a lot. That is something that has come up in our marriage a zillion times, right? Because it's like, and then what does that do though? What are you doing? You're avoiding.
You're making your wife want to murder you.
No.
Is what? No. Oh no. Sorry. Yes, you are.
And because you are avoiding that conflict, you are building up your own resentment in your wife. So you want to murder her. It's like, oh, great. I did something again. All you do is complain. Why can't you just be normal or
it's like
just
you're
let it
lining
go?
up the gun so that your wife can shoot you in the foot just using your finger on the trigger. Like, hold on, let me get my foot here. Here we go.
You're aiming
you're
up.
like setting it all up so that same thing happens each time.
Well, that just goes back to the thing, conflict avoid is conflict multiplied. So how much easier would it be to be like, all right, my shared vision is, hey, listen, I'm good at what I do. I can go make 100K in 2 seconds, but leave me the hell alone and be happy when I bring back the 88. Okay. Just
what if it doesn't work out like that? What if there's a pattern of like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I can earn 100K. And then in 6 months, it's, well, I earned $4,000.
Well, if that's the pattern, then maybe you're not so good at making 100K than you think you are. You know
What do
I'm
we
saying?
do then?
Well, then you assess stuff and go, listen, bub, listen,
What if
dude.
your assessor's broken?
Well, I don't know. It might be.
Like a gauge on a tire? Like it,
Maybe-
yeah, that'll
maybe
work.
the-
It's full, but you can
maybe the
see
wife-
that it's flat.
Okay, so maybe the wife has to lead a very difficult conversation of like, yo, I love you, but here's the last 10 months of stuff. It's not looking good.
Right.
Again, I love you, but we got to do something different. We have to.
What if it's the last 5 years of that?
Well,
Even more?
so, right? Then I would look into because there's a husband that you said here, I didn't realize how much of like a controlling kind of atmosphere I grew up in.
Oligarchy?
Like with my grandma, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And she's not
She's
now
not an
because she's like,
oligarchy. She's a oligarchy. She's a maven. Matron.
she's a, I don't know. But she got shit done. She was, boom, we're going here. This is what we're doing. And she was pretty right on a bunch of stuff, you know, like successful,
Very
all this
smart,
stuff.
yeah.
So I grew up that way and found those patterns of like, oh, well, I know what's best and everybody else wants to do it too. So here's where we're going. Here's the restaurants. I made the thing. I got the money to pay for it. What's the matter? This is it.
Why
right?
aren't you happy?
Why aren't you happy kind of thing? And I was like, wait a minute, that's a little bit of controlling behavior. Shit. I probably did stuff that I maybe would not have wanted to do growing up or going places or doing this stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So realizing that for yourself and going, okay, retune my assessor, right?
Right.
Assess my assessor and go, all right, how is that affecting? And what need do I have to be so controlling in that? Is it an insecurity? Is it, well, I don't know, just came from family of origin, so that's what we do, and not having a growth, open mindset to do something different? Or saying, listen, I know it all anyway, just follow me and it'll work out, which of course is not the case.
Right. Well, and that's just I know it all anyway, just follow me and it'll work out. Like that's not allowing other people to be humans and have their thoughts and opinions
Right.
too, you know? I don't know. I just had a question I was going to ask you and it popped out of my brain cells, but I want it to pop back in. I'm manifesting the returning of this question. Maybe I should sit in my manifestation chair.
Tell them
My
about
all-new,
that.
the prayer chair.
It's 18-year anniversary yesterday, by the way.
Well, this is going to be airing later, so it won't have been yesterday.
18 years and 2 weeks anniversary, by the way.
18 años.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, this is what I was going to say. So what then, because this is also a dynamic in that, do you know who I'm talking about, by the way?
I think so.
I'd be curious to see if you think it's the same person or not. But what happens then?
Your sister Carrie.
Yeah, Sean, he's just that way. Nobody can stop him. But what happens if you genuinely say that you have come to an agreement and then the agreement is not followed and the like impact of what you don't actually agree on is a big deal. What if it's something like...
Well, that's a big deal then.
Like, I'm going to make up a scenario. This is not the scenario, but what if it's like, we said we were going to save money to buy this house in Canada, and then all of a sudden I learned that my husband had taken money out of his 401k to buy a Ferrari, right? You're like, wait, this was our plan. Like, our plan was over here. We were going to move to Canada. We're going to start this new life here. It's going to be amazing. We have our kids' schools picked out. Like, this is the dream we both said we were dreaming. And
so
now
that's a huge deal, because now it's just not like, oh, I spent, $12K to make 100, leave me alone. It's woo.
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 I'm sorry.
Whoa. Like, whoa.
What's woo?
This is like California.
It's like, whoa.
Woo. Then that is messing with somebody else's life.
Yes.
And so I can see why the other partner is like, what the F?
Right.
What's going on? I was planning on this. It would be like me waking up and go, oh, all 500 of our episodes, I didn't release any of them.
I just deleted them. I took them all down.
Yeah. I'd be like, why?
Right.
I quit my job for this. What? I thought we had a shared vision.
Right.
Right? That would be a very big deal.
And I think because now, men, hear me say this, please.
Men.
What would happen, men, if your wife made a promise to you and was like, I'm going to raise our children together, whatever the promise is, I'm going to raise our children together. I'm going to stay at home mom. I'm going to be a homeschool teacher. You want us to homeschool our kids? I'll be the homeschool mom. I'll take them to soccer. And then one day she's like, so no, I'm not doing that. I joined a roller derby group and I'm sorry, I'm going to get a babysitter. It'll cost us, but whatever. The neighbor's daughter, Tammy, is going to watch our kids 6 days a week and I'm going to roller derby it up.
It's always Tammy.
It's always Tammy. But like, what would happen, men, if that, like, put yourself in your wife's shoes?
Well, that would not be okay. And most men that I know, myself included, may be more vocal and what the F kind of thing. I would be angry. And
I want to see if I can communicate as, clearly as possible. You're bigger. You make the money. We don't feel like we can tell you no. Because even when we do, sometimes you still do the fucking thing anyway. Forgive me for swearing.
Woo.
And so that is a big deal. Like, there's a huge, I wish you weren't checking your phone in the middle of our world famous podcast. There is a very serious dynamic to consider when you are the source of like security for someone. I mean, really put it in any other context. Let's say this is gonna sound super weird. Oh, okay.
How about this?
Go ahead. Yeah. Say it.
Dude has a business partner,
Yeah.
a 50-50 business partner.
Love it.
All right, my man. Here's the plan. Here's our quarter one. This is what we're gonna do. Here's projections 2025. All this stuff. Business partner goes, yes, let's do that.
Yep.
Solid. I'm on for it. I'm here for it, bro. Let's do it, right? And then 6 months later, like, getting kind of cooled off on that idea. And in fact, I was so cooled off that I sold the building that we were going to buy to expand.
Without telling you.
You would be, you'd feel a lot of things. You'd be pissed. You'd be livid. You'd be frustrated. You'd be hurt, probably. If you had a long time with this business partner, trust would be broken, obviously. And you would be flabbergasted. Why did you do that? What is going on? I thought we were on the same page. What is this?
You'd probably not stay in partnership with that business partner, especially if it was happening over and over. What if it happened every year?
Well, then,
what if you were with that partner for 5 years and like, yes, we're going to build this empire. We're going to sell the most amount of perfume possible or whatever. We've got the
sellers.
Place. We have all the science people, the Smellums creators, and we have this whole thing down. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, I just told all the Smellums creators that they could just take a vacation. I fired them.
So it would be a huge breach of trust. okay, trust is broken. You're hurt. You're like, whoa, this really affects my bottom line now, like my paycheck going home and stuff. And I have a family and all this stuff. So that would be very difficult. Now, to the meat of the problem, what do you do? Since that already happened, right? Business partner was like, peace out. I did this anyway.
Right.
So now what do you do? Do you go, okay, like when the dust settles and stuff, how can we fix this? I have to be on the same page with you here. What is our shared vision of this money's going here, we're doing this is reserved for this. What is it, my man? What's going on? Because, I hate to say this, because this might not work on the monumental scale, and I don't even know what the scale is. On the scale that this has impacted my life, I have a bunch of questions. I got a lot of what ifs and a lot of what fors, what's going on kind of thing. So you got to have a come to Jesus moment in a real way that's very different, that is so different that has never even happened before. Because maybe you've kind of, gotten close to that, had some conversations like, yo, what the F, dude? And okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I was just stressed here. Go figure that out, man, guy. Why do you keep on doing that? Is it like some really intense avoidance of conflict? Does it go back to like, oh, if I have conflict, then I'm not accepted from, mom or dad or family of origin or anything like that? What is it for you? Because you're doing more damage by not going through those things. In a podcast we had earlier, we talked about like, yeah, if you're going through hell, keep on going. But maybe this is like, I don't want to enter hell because I don't know. I'm so scared of that. So I'm going to do this other thing that is actually creating...
It's delayed hell.
It's delayed hell or creating a worse hell with it. You're like, listen, okay, yeah, here's my shared vision, but man, do I struggle. And man, I might not do that. I don't know why, but I'm going to go to therapy and do coaching and be in a men's group and all this stuff to try to figure out why the hell I'm doing all this stuff. But I can't even promise myself that, so I can't promise you. I have been promising you, but knowing in the back of my mind that I can't even promise myself because I want you to, be appeased and like, shut up or so we can have sex and get normal again like that. But man, that's not working because I don't even know what that looks like. So go out, do what you got to do in a good way that brings clarity. That is like, when my coach looked at me and our therapist looked at me and said, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing?
I'm like, day of my life.
I don't have an answer. I don't know. So I admitted to myself, I don't know. So what did I do after that? I didn't go, I don't know, shit. Well, okay, give up. Stayed in hell. Hey, I don't know. All right. Let me ask people, be around people, listen to people, talk to people who do know and get some insight on that. And then guess what? I began to know. And presto, growth.
Presto, growth. This makes me think of an analogy that I've used with coaching clients where, like you talked about, like, what is it? Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. Right. So like if you avoid a thing, it's just kind of going to come back around worse. Right. So it's like driving on a flat tire. The longer you do it, the worse you're going to ruin your car. And I use this analogy. It's like, if you can't get over this cycle, if you're doing the same thing again, this is for the husband, you're doing the same thing over and over again. It's like perpetually staying in fourth grade. You're just like, the math test is so hard. I don't want to, I'll just put it off, or I'll just say I studied this time. And then the test comes and you fail. You just bomb it. And you're like, well, it's just this time. And then you go around, you do all of it. You promise your teacher you'll study. You tell yourself that, I know I could pass fourth grade. And then the test comes right back around and you fail it again. You never get to fifth grade or seventh grade or your PhD until you get past fourth grade. And I think for you that fourth grade might be, how do I navigate a relationship like fully as a partnership? That feels like what fourth grade might be in this circumstance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Which that's hard. I'm thinking my own struggle with like attachment styles and stuff like that. I'm like, shit, I got to talk about this now. Like I actually have to be on the same page with another human because it's much easier to be on the same page with myself because I'm super smart.
You ain't on a page. You're doing this.
What is that?
Give me another book. That's what you're doing.
Give me a new book. No, I'm not actually. I'm just saying that it is easier to do that. But what is the key around that? Is it like, okay, I'm going to get on the same vision as you, Melanie. Let's do this. it's probably not that right now. It's like, oh, what am I doing? I need to get on my own page, find healing for that, find super clarity, find accountability, and like, yeah, this is a pattern. Good Lord, people. So if you have the insight into look back into the 20 years of your life, it doesn't matter how old you are, the last 20 years of your life, what have you done consistently? What have you gone to? What have you avoided? What conflict have you addressed? What have been your patterns in the last 20 years? That will give you the very clear answer of what maybe your next 20 years will look like. You know what I'm saying? I did it at the Badass Husband Mastermind event, badasshusband.com, by the way. And it was finding your purpose. And I go back, because this is one way that I did it. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back since I was 14 years old, since I had a job pumping gas at the gas station, to high school jobs, to undergrad jobs, to just small jobs. Some were just to make money. I was a bricklayer, for crying out loud, one summer. That was only to get a paycheck. But other jobs that I just naturally went to were always in the helping profession. It was always people who were in a different position than I was. I was like, okay.
Like in a handstand or?
No, not a handstand, splits. And
that got weird.
Yeah, to help them, right? To work hard, to put myself in their position, in their shoes, and go, oh, okay, let me see if I can provide some insight or some clarity, or like your dad calls it, the ministry of presence, which is not a ministry in like church way, is like the power of presence kind of thing. And that's how I was like, oh, I'm a helper. Okay, so I can also look back of like times when I finished 75 hard. What happens after that? Beer and scones. Okay, even our
That
kids
should be
are
the name of a restaurant.
beer and scones. That would not be good because it mixes tastes. Beer with sweet. No, you got to have savory.
Some people like sweet beers.
You got to have coffee with sweet.
Scone beers.
Or milk. No, thank you. But look back and go, this is a pattern in past relationships, romantic relationships, and also familial relationships. Do I avoid conflict with my dad or mom or brothers or sisters or aunties or cousins?
Or does my mom or dad does my dad treat my mom like I'm treating my wife right now? Like that, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a definitely, insights, and you can gain, that's an indicator.
Right. Or like an aunt or an uncle, like Uncle Leo, Seinfeld, like always treats his wife like this. And I think it's kind of crappy, but weird. I'm doing the same thing to my wife.
Right.
You know? And I think something that popped into my head as you were talking was this idea of like, there comes a point when it's, there's a tipping point in terms of, look, I can take notes, but you can't. I can't think while you take notes. This is not possible.
Why not?
All the women know this in women's group coaching, that if anyone writes anything in the notes, like what is it called? The chat. And they're like, Melanie, I wrote it so you wouldn't be distracted. I'm like, that's distracting.
Who has ADHD?
It's very funny.
In this relationship.
It's quality and it's funny. But yes, you're correct.
I knew it.
So such as guest. So here's what I'm saying. At some point, like Seth mentioned, that this is an unsustainable pattern. Especially because I know that you have a badass baller for a wife.
How about this?
Hold on.
This is an unsustainable pattern.
Talking!
I'm going to mute you. This is an unsustainable pattern because it's also hurting yourself.
Yes, very much.
See what I'm saying? It's hurting yourself. Not only is there collateral damage with other people who are in the atmosphere of you, you're also hurting yourself. You're heaping
teaching your children.
Well, not even thinking about children right now. Sure, that's probably a thing.
Sorry.
But like you're heaping, what does Proverbs say? You're heaping coals upon yourself, right? Like, well, I have a fire suit, so I can take all the coals. No, your fire suit's going to melt.
You're not a welder. You don't study lava. You don't have a fire suit. Oh, there's a hair in my mouth.
I don't know what that's from.
It's not from anything. I just said it. I said those words.
You're not a welder. You don't study lava. Your suit is going to melt.
You said heaping coals.
Oh, that's a tangent. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So what I was saying a minute ago, and I'm going to bring this back to like my own behaviors and how I am, because I can be
somebody preach
a bitch.
Preach it.
And you're not Kev. Don't even try. Because that's all you're doing right now is you're trying to be Kev. And
Shut-a-butts.
You're not Kev. He doesn't say shut-a-butts. He says, what does he say?
Did I tell the story that I made up a language and spoke to a person?
That is so rude. And I'm right there with Tuff. He did not like it, and I don't like it. And he is not telling this story. So anyway, here's my thought.
You were preaching.
I was preaching. I had to come to the realization within myself.
Come to Jesus.
Within myself and my marriage and my parenting that I have a lot of really, really great qualities. I'm good at many things. I'm dedicated. I'm whatever. But man, I can be a real cunt. If you
What?
It's a funny word.
You can't say that.
We have an E on our thing.
You can't say
I
that.
can say that. If you're not watching us on YouTube right now, you should be.
Oh my God. Who do you think you are, Ricky Gervais?
That's what made me love that word.
Oh my gosh.
He's hilarious and he uses it all the time. And I think it's so funny.
I think that's very inappropriate for people not in America.
Oh, what? Fine, I won't say. I was going to say it again.
You better not.
Fine, I won't say it. I have offended my husband. Forgive me. Please forgive me. I've offended you. Anyway, I had to come to the real understanding that I can be very hard to deal with and very unkind when I'm in that frame of mind. And I had to have a sort of, it's a fly. A come to Jesus moment of what do I want to do with that? Do I want to let that cuntiness drive? I had to say it. I knew it would get your... You can't even. He's just staring at the soundboard trying to make some sort of noise and he can't. I won't say it again.
All right.
That would be a cunty thing to do.
Oh.
Just put it back on. Come back. I'll stop saying it. I'm not even saying it. That's like a Ricky Gervais thing. I didn't even say it. Only a cunt would say that and I'm not a cunt. Anyway, we recently watched Humanity. So anyway.
Oh boy.
I had to actively choose what am I going to do with this type of element that I have within me, fully acknowledging that I've done it, that I am this way, that I can be this way at the drop of a hat, that my default is to be unkind when I'm mad, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then I had to ask myself, what am I willing to sacrifice to keep this or not? Right? I said that wrong, I think. What am I willing to give up? Am I willing to give up that element of who I am to keep and create and foster and maintain a healthy marriage? Am I willing to do that?
Yes.
Have I been?
Yes.
What does that look like?
Different.
But then what?
Well, you change your trajectory, right? Maybe you see something, there's what do we call it? An antecedent, a precipitating event, something that happens, basically a trigger. You're like, Seth left the thing on the thing. I would be a bitch or not. Okay. Well, wait a minute. How about I'll be different? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's really a lot of self-reflection. Mm-hmm. And that looks like, it obviously looks different for everybody. I know you have note cards in your little wallet pocket thing on your phone. You listen to stuff all the time. It's like you're very intentional about it, right?
I made flashcards that say like, your pissy attitude, nobody wants it. Like you're the only one who gives a shit about it. Don't hand it to other people. They don't care and they don't want it. And you're being a bully. I wrote that on a thing for myself to carry around so that I would stop the behavior. Now, let me say, that doesn't mean that the behavior goes, the instinct and desire and the like trigger to have that behavior goes away. I think the shitty things that I don't say anymore.
You went on a bitch diet. So I started 75 hard today, right? You did too. Does that mean that I might not want to drink a beer or I might not want a scone? Of course I do. Am I gonna? No, because there's something larger that I want, right? So I'm giving up
an extra large pizza.
Yes. Cauliflower pizza. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're giving up something. You're being intentional. You're setting up guidelines, roadblocks for yourself of, I know I can be this way. I know that I can eat scones and drink beer 100 times. I'm not going to. Or let me set up guidelines, some checklists, some accountability, some, the 75 Hard app or whatnot. Because I want this rather than this.
And what's hard about that, I'll be honest, and I know, again, because I know these people, I'm trying to think of what they would say in response? Retort? We're not talking about food, are we? A retort?
No.
It's a tort that's happened once already before. A retort.
A retortellini.
Like it's happened again. It's the second tort.
Recycled tort.
Not the point. It does change your relationship with folks. So again, this is in the context of a second marriage. There's other people involved, all of that. personal growth in this context when it affects, you know, former relationships or children from previous marriages or whatever, you have to establish new boundaries with those people, and they're not going to like it. But if they love you, they'll be okay with it. And you can say something like this: "Hey, you know what? I accidentally set up a pattern in my current marriage where I am not honoring this thing that we agreed to because I'm trying to make you happy. And man, that wasn't what I meant to do. I want to honor you and you, like, right? I want to honor you as my child and you as my wife. How do I do that?" And you could say, "I have to make these brand new boundaries. They're going to sting for all of us at first, but then they're going to honor all of us eventually. Like, it's going to be good for all of us." It's like taking your kid off of a, you know, like you just give them lollipops all the time. Like, oh, you're sad, have a Twinkie. And then you have this like obese diabetic kid. And it's the best thing to do to be like, "Hey, switch into a veggie diet. We are switching up the norm here. It's going to suck for a while. But in the end, all of us will be healthier.
Right.
All of us will be healthier."
And remember the why, like the saying, remember why you started kind of thing.
Yes.
When shit gets hard, remember why you started. You know, like, okay, example for 75 Hard. I love the way that I look and feel and think and get tons of shit done when I'm on 75 Hard. So on day 29, when I'm, you know, it's balls raining outside or whatnot, or 95 degrees, I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I would remember why I started. Seth, you know that this is worth it. Bio, psycho, spiritually, social, sexually, business-wise, everything. Oh, okay, then I'm going to do this 45-minute workout outside, which is only discomfort to get to this other thing, right? So I'm only going to stop avoiding conflict, have conversations with baby mama, baby daddy, all of my kids, because I want this current relationship to thrive and be different. And if everybody's on the same page, you're going to go through what we call in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, an extinction burst. Okay, I've been giving the kid a sucker for 8 years.
Yeah.
He's 9 now. I'm like, listen, bro, can't.
Right.
He's going to go nuts,
Think
right?
about taking a pacifier
So
away
an
from a
extinction
kid.
burst. Stuff is going to get worse before it gets better, right?
It's like when people are hangry, you know? It's like people will say just the meanest thing to you. They're super hangry. And then they get food and they're like, oh, you know, sorry. For what I
But
said.
sometimes this process, you have to undo a lot of stuff if it's years and years of patterns and stuff like that. But remember why you started. Remember what you have right now, like currently, you know, your wife, your kids, all this stuff. Remember what you have right now and go, this is definitely worth it. I'm going to remember why I started when I have this awkward conversation. I'm going to remember why I started when I say no to them next time. I'm going to remember why I started when I feel like giving in to this or that or that. I'm going to remember why I started. I'm going to see my family's face kind of thing. In the men's group this morning, there was a guy that posted when he doesn't want to do stuff, like is like not motivated or not inspired or whatnot, but he said he was going to do it. He envisions his little kids like in danger kind of thing, like in a crisis. And he's like, well, there's no way in hell that I'm going to let that happen to my little girls or little kids. And that gives me the like boost kind of thing. You know, like I run on a trail that actually has a sign that says, beware of black bears and cougars on the sign. Me and Mara thought we saw one a couple weeks ago, right? I was like, oh shit, but it was a coyote. If I'm out there and it's raining or snowing or whatever, and I'm like, hey, I got to run 2 miles. I got to do 45 minutes outside. Shit, I don't want to. Then I can go to a place in my mind. In fact, David Goggins talks about this. He goes to that dark place in his mind, right? Where he takes no prisoners, where he just, you know, he's taking souls is what he's talking about. That's how he does it. Which if you have not read David Goggins Can't Hurt Me, check it out. It's phenomenal.
It's intense.
If I'm like, you know, pooping out on like mile 1/2 of a mile,
Right.
I could actually envision, okay, my kids are up ahead of me riding bikes and I see a cougar. I'm like, hell no. I'm going to give it everything I have to run up there as fast as I can, right? And it's all imaginary in my mind. But does it get it done? Of course it does. Does it help me get to the remember why I started moments? Yes, it does. So the next time you feel tempted to like not bring your wife in on something, to be a lone wolf, to have a conversation to avoid conflict. Remember why you started. Remember why you got married. Remember why you had these little kids, and go, that is bigger than me, and that is desperately what I want.
Right. Yeah. And it makes me think, sort of in wrapping up, that like the cost of having a healthy marriage for Seth and I on my part was I had to literally like sacrifice. I don't know if that's the right word.
Cut out. Same thing.
Sacrifice, remove that element of me that's mean and unforgiving and sharp and snide and bitchy and all of those things. That was actually what I had to pay to keep, or not even keep, but to create a healthy marriage. There's a price that you pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a price. Mm-hmm. And I like at some level, actually not at some level, very, very, very honestly and openly. And actually this happened at the men's retreat. Someone asked me like, what made you decide to change all these things about yourself, Melanie? Because you changed a lot of stuff about yourself. And I was like, Seth made me decide to change. He told me he'd divorce me. That's what made me decide. No, it wasn't me. And so for this particular couple, it's like, if you're not willing to pay that price, husband, if you're not willing to say, hey, I'm actually going to change this, man, I've been wrong about it, this sucks or whatever. If you're like, nope, I'm not changing that, the price that you will pay then may be no wife. That's the price that's what you are willing to do. If I didn't change that part of me, be able to attune more, be kinder, be more affectionate, more like loving, all of those things. If I didn't do that, I would have had the price to pay on your end of things.
Maybe that put into perspective of not only is, oh shit, he's not joking.
Yeah.
And number two of like, my behavior is affecting someone else so bad that they would rather not be married? Oh my gosh. Yeah, what am I doing?
Yes, that it was like, I mean, again, someone asked me, more than one person asked me in the thing, like, what made you change? What made you whatever? Like, what was the inspiration? I'm like, it was being like, oh, I'll rip the whole family apart because you're really mean all the time and you won't stop. Mm-hmm. And so in this scenario, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, just by the way, but like, if this person says, hey, we said we were in a partnership, it feels like a dictatorship. If you aren't going to change this and it's been 5 years or however many, like there is a point where this person could say, all right, then I'm out. Like, this isn't what I signed up for.
Or like adjust, like, okay, come to a different agreement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I don't want to get a divorce, but if you're a mega bitch, then don't expect fun Christmases. Don't expect like a lot of stuff. Like we can stay together, but
sounds awful.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot to think about and like process through and unpack in this conversation and in this question. But I think if I could sum it all up, I like the remember why you started, like that whole thing. Like, what are you doing here? What's your actual main goal? But knowing that there is a cost for all of, like I had to say these sets of behaviors, which by the way, I love being mean. I'm really good at it. It's delightful. It's full of delight.
You're freaky.
That was rude. He says one unkind thing to me and I say he's rude. But it is very challenging when you come from a family that's all really good at that. We're very excellent at it. It's funny. We think it's funny to be like, I'm putting all of that aside, knowing that I will be judged by my family. If I don't do the same pattern that they do, I will be probably teased by my family. It's so foreign feeling. I won't know how to do it.
Who would you rather be judged and make mad?
My family. Now.
Hold on. Nope. Not so. This is maybe a trick question.
Okay, trick question.
Would you rather make me mad and disappointed and disconnected?
Yes.
All that stuff. Or would you rather disappoint your family in that?
Yes.
Because you're giving up something, family of origin patterns, right? So, of course, you chose me in that because, duh, I mean, a healthy family, a healthy marriage chooses their partner over their family of origin, right? So that's the question. Like, take what you have now.
But hold on, can I restate what you just did? Because I think it might have been kind of confusing.
Sure.
So before we've done all this work, all of this personal growth, my default, and pretty much everybody's default is, well, my family's family. You don't screw with them. You don't disappoint them. But I don't care what you think. but we don't say any of this, and we don't even know we're doing it. But
Right.
like almost every couple is doing it.
It's easier to come to a point in marriages and relationships where, oh, well, she'll understand.
I'll disappoint you instead of disappointing my mom,
Right.
or my sister, or my uncles, or
Which
whatever.
I understand it. That is a very, very strong draw, a very strong bond. But poof, I mean, you're sacrificing something, right? Everything comes with a price.
Right.
There is so I listen to a lot of law of attraction and stuff like that. Everything has like an opposite. Everything has a price. There is a law. There are universal laws around it. If I do this thing, I might get away with it once, twice, 1,000 times, but there was always a price. I'm going to wake up and go, what the F just happened?
Right.
And sometimes, what does the Bible say? It's like a thief comes in the night. What is it? Like if you something, I love that. I love Proverbs anyway, but it's like, I think it might be talking about drinking or something like that. It's like, oh shit, I can't remember it. Some Bible verse.
I wanted to say that word that I'm not allowed to say.
No, you're not going to say that anymore. It's rude and ugly. It's uncouth, as my mom would say. It's uncouth. Now, if we were in London, sure, maybe, I don't know. If you're like a pikey or something, I don't know. If you were on Snatched with Brad Pitt, sure. In a Guy Ritchie film, you can say that. But not here.
Not here.
Not in Maple
this
Valley.
Space.
On an American podcast.
Oh, whoa.
Freedom. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, there is a price. Like, look at it. I laid it out. There's a price.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't choose it for you, but there is. It's like when people go, oh shit, I've been drinking for 20 years. I have lost a lot of stuff already. Am I going to continue losing this and go down a pit of despair, or am I going to stop and realize all that stuff and start making amends and then finally do it right? Shit, that's regret. It's like Ed Milet talks about.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you leaving on the table? Because sometimes the grief of realizing stuff that you have left on the table will keep you from moving forward. And it really hurts, and it's really hard work. You can't do it alone. Badass Husband Men's Group, by the way. Or women's group coaching, of course. And stuff has a price, bro.
Yeah. And I will say lastly, so as we wrap up, this is a long episode. Sorry. Again, I was saying this, I think I got interrupted a minute ago, no big deal, but I know the woman who wrote this question in, and she's a badass. And men, when you're married to a badass, you can't have a regular life. Just sorry. You're going to have to have a Take that out, Reva. That was silly.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say so many foul things right now. Okay. So, but what I was going to say, if you're married to a badass wife, a badass woman, you have to level up your game. If you don't, she will leave you. I'm not talking specifically to you, but I've seen it.
Dude, we've seen it a lot.
Yeah, I know. So
I had that realization in our marriage.
Yeah.
And you had that realization. Wives, if you're married to a badass husband, and I have a lot of husbands like this.
In your group?
In the group. They're like, my wife won't get on board. She's talking about something that happened 5 years ago. I don't know what this is. I'm like, dude, keep on trucking.
Right.
Keep on trucking. When you do it for you, which we should all do that, then that has the longest effects. That has when I changed for myself, you're like, oh shit, this dude's for real.
I did it like at first our changes were one at a time. So it was almost like when you first climbing a ladder. It was like you said I'm going to change first, and I was still down at this bottom rung.
Right.
And then there was a point where it switched, and we kind of got static for a while and didn't grow. And then I said, no, okay, I'm changing, and now we're doing it like in unison.
So yeah, if you notice this pattern in your marriage, if you have a badass wife, you better level the fuck up. If you have a badass husband, you better level up too, because it's like you see this as you get older. It's like, oh, my old friend group, I'm into this stuff now, growth mindset, making money, all this stuff, and they're still at 7-Eleven smoking weed. It's not. Then if you're one of those 7-Eleven dudes smoking weed, you're like, hey, where did John go? I don't know. He might be too good for us. Well, he was too good for you. Right. Now he's owning a company or something like that. It's like shape up or ship out, as I don't know. I used to hear that with probably my wrestling coach or something like that. But it's true. So if you're seeing this, don't go, oh, who do you think you are? You're making all these changes. That's a good thing. You better hold on to that and go with them.
Right. Yeah. We need to grow as humans. It's like a part of our...
Grow as humans, people.
Our what is that? Hierarchy of needs?
That's right.
Whatever. But no, listen, don't say anything.
Okay.
So what I was going to say, again, I was very rudely interrupted, is that now it's the time to grow together. Now is the time to say, we've grown individually, we've grown whatever, but now we're going to grow together. We're going to decide what this looks like in a new way. We're going to approach it in a new way. Yeah, it's probably going to sting. It's like working out for the first time in a year or 6. It's going to hurt. You're going to have some sore muscles. You're going to not know how to do the things correctly at first, but choose to grow together. That's the best way to get out of it. Because again, especially if you've got a badass wife, I think badass wives stick around a lot less. They tolerate it a lot less than I think badass dudes do sometimes. And so I just encourage you, step up, step out. Don't get mad at us if you figured out that this podcast was about you. This was your free session, 49 minutes long. You're welcome.
Right. So you guys, if anything resonated with you, which I hope it did, because we're spitting fire on this one. Email me.
If any of this resonates you, send us an email at hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. And then you should definitely join our husband's mastermind, so badasshusband.com. Or if you're a lady, you can be in the women's group coaching. Go to anatomyofus.com/women's group coaching or click the tab.
That's right.
And be in these groups. We ain't shitting around.
This is your wake-up call. So hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. Get on the phone with me. See if you're a good fit for any and all of our stuff. Coaching, if you want to like put some seal oil in there and really level up, then you will. If you want to, you will. Hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. All right, well, guys, we love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Anatomy of Us. This podcast is produced by my mom, Melanie Studley, and hosted by my dad, Seth Studley. Our show is edited and published by our producer, Reba Hansen, from Creative Media Support. Special thanks to our Patreon members that get an extra episode every week. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.